Really nothing. Napa's non-disclosure agreement is signed and sent. They were. I was worried they were in dark for a while, and then they said, we really apologize. We finally got it back from our lawyer. I changed 3 words in the entire 5-page contract. So I signed it and sent it to them, and they're going to send it back to me. So that's a step on my possible Napa thing. I sent an email to my Federal Mogul sponsor, who in 2 weeks is merging. A company is buying them, right? It's going to be this huge merger. And I don't know where my contact at Federal Mogul is going to land. So I sent him an email Friday, and I said, "Hey, Mike, I know you're busy, blah, blah, blah. Here's the deal for 2019. He sent something back. So I basically said to him, look, what if, Mark, I was proposed, or not Mark, Mike, what if I was proposed an opportunity for someone else to come inside of Remarkable Results Radio, which you have exclusive sponsorship of?" And I just sent him that email this morning, actually 15, 20 minutes ago. I basically was going out and saying, I've been in the integration stuff before. I know, a lot of that's up in the air. I'm not sure the podcast is going to have a high priority in decision making. I don't even know where he's going to land in this whole thing. And so I really wanted to open it up to him. I says, I respect you. I have our friendship for years. But yet, what if someone approached me and they were interested in a portion of what you have? I says, because I really don't want to go into 2019 without you guys on board, without a sponsor on board. And I've got a lot of things going on. I got gigs booked. And I says, and I want to have a podcast to continue to support that. I need a sponsor to do it. So I think it was a risk for me to send it, but I also think it was the right thing to do. So
I like that. And it's pushy, but in a nice way. It's a pushy in a, look, we need to make a decision and get this moving, because it's got consequences. It's not like it's just let's have the sale. So I get that. I think that's. And
it also means that when they're going over the priorities upon integration, probably way into October, November, and this little item comes up on his list, he may remember the fact that I adore their sponsorship. But here's the other thing, guys. Part of what I proposed to Napa was, and it was a line item. It said sponsorship, question. And so my thought is if they said, hey, we'd love to sponsor Remarkable Results Radio, I said, well, I'll give you 2 commercials, on Tuesday. Then I would call Mike up and say, hey, Mike, you're off the hook for half the money. I found a sponsor. Mm-hmm. The point is if he gives me the God bless, I don't want to force him that if he wants to, exclusive. So my point to push him was maybe Napa's interested in coming on board. And, for me then, that makes maybe an easy decision for Federal Mogul and an easy decision for Napa. And to me, that exposure is so important to have 2 major players in the industry, on my team, and Jasper.
Well, that's the great thing is you got to think of the front page of the website. So I was looking at your website today, looking at some of the show notes and how you structured them, and just having a look at it. That bit that you've got at the bottom right of the show notes where it's Federal Mogul, and you've got the Garage Cruiser.
Yeah, Garage Gurus.
That's it, Garage Gurus. You've got those guys. Like that's as much value. I know the finance in the bank is wonderful, but having that there, that's a piece for when you're speaking. You're almost buying your way into a stage if you've got that. So I get that, man. That sounds good. And how's just kind of checking in on the membership conversation we had last week? Where's that at in the brain?
It's nowhere. It's in the same place. It's in neutral, and it's not like I don't want to do it, and I really do, Mark, really bad. But in Mark and I's one-on-one, he scared the living crap out of me about the bandwidth that I would need to pull this off. And right now, this Napa discussion, is going to take, and the Repair Pal and the travel in 2 weeks to speak, and then preparing for Apex, and all the work, all the roundtables, all the notes, making sure the studio is right, locking down interviews while I'm there. There's just so much bandwidth, and then continuing to do 4 shows a week.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, and oh, by the way, my VA just had his 3rd baby.
Right. Yay, but no. Yay,
I know. No. Yay, but no. And he was a great guy, but he was dark for a few days. And so I got right back today to what I was doing before Rick.
Wow.
Oh, man.
That kid's born in the middle of a hurricane as well. That poor kid.
Well, yeah, they had this big cyclone down there, and
Yeah.
it missed them. It didn't devastate his town, but a couple of towns over, I guess, or whatever. And she had C-sections, so she had a stitch problem. And I've never seen. Listen, God bless him. I'm all for family. I want it to be great and healthy and all that stuff, but it's just the excuses just keep piling up.
You want it to be healthy, it's got to be all good, but I still got to get the show out. So,
Yeah, he's been good. He's been back and forth with me a little bit. I says, listen, I will become Rick for the next 24 hours. You make sure things are normal. The kids are home. So he's got it's just so
Well, all right. So that's the challenge then. Well, fair play. We can catch up on the membership stuff separately. I'm not overly worried. I was just curious on that.
Cool, believe you me, Mark, I dream about it all the time. I just want that to happen so bad, but I just don't have enough bandwidth to do it. But I did go to Gravity Forums. You guys did remind me where it was. I did see it, so I started to play with the survey that I know I have to put out. So I did do a little bit on that.
Cool. Good work, my man. Well, good week. Andrea, I'm going to come to you next. Wins and challenges. What's been going on?
I just got in last night late from Nantucket Project.
How was it? How was Lance?
Lance was not what I hoped.
Oh.
At all. He's just not in a good place, I think, personally. So I even contemplated not going on the bike ride because I was just like, eh. But you know what was great about it? It was that I got to see the island as a result of going on the bike ride. But he was very difficult to converse with. He still holds a lot of anger. He feels very angry that the foundation separated from him. He's very resentful. So he's got some work to do. He was not where I hoped he would be at all. But they surprised us and kept it really quiet. But President Bush came and I was 50 feet away from him.
No way.
So I got to hear him talk, and it was hysterically funny, very engaging. It was a powerhouse of speakers.
Wow.
Intel was the sponsor, so we got to do this virtual reality meditation, and they're giving us all virtual reality headsets, and they made water bottles out of the results of your meditation. So my results are printed on a water bottle in all the colors that showed up during my meditation. So that was pretty wild.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it was incredible. I'm speechless. I'm humbled. The Neighborhood Project, which is what I'm part of, is they're trying to figure out their business model. As far as right now, it's set up kind of like multi-level marketing, which I'm not a fan of, especially for the content, because the content is so rich and deep, and it's meant for connecting people. And to ask somebody to sign up and tell them they can't be a part of that connection unless they sign up, that doesn't fly for me. So they're still playing with that. And as a result, the founder of Beauty Counter, the CEO, underwrote membership for a year for anybody at Nantucket Project. So
wow.
that gives them some leeway to figure out the business model, which I definitely want to be a part of. And I thought about maybe my way of helping spread the word. When I roll out my brand, I could have an affiliate link for Nantucket Project on there, for anybody who wants. So I will propose that to them. I got to be with Nelson Mandela's grandson, which was amazing. He's amazing. He's doing beautiful work, and he came to a Neighborhood Project and led it one morning. It was action-packed. The CEO of Peloton was there, and Sean Spicer was there, the former press secretary, which was interesting. The book, the lineup was just jaw-dropping. I did get to hang out with Gordon Gunn, who was the founder of the Cleveland Cavaliers. and he's blind. He went blind when he was 26 years old, and he has made it his life's purpose to cure blindness. And the exciting news that came was that his protocol, which has reversed blindness in I don't know how many people across the world, just got approved by the FDA. So Amanda Knox was a speaker, the girl who was convicted of that crime wrongfully in Italy. I'm still processing all of it. I can't believe I was there.
Some serious people there.
It was very serious people. It was very serious people. You know, lots of great networking. But my goal really is to be a part of spreading that neighborhood and bringing that into my brand, because I feel it's really important. Mm-hmm. So after this, I'm pretty sure I have a meeting to see the latest snapshot on my brand.
I was going to ask about that. Good.
Yep.
We've got a deadline for that wrapping up. Not any pressure from this side, just curiosity.
Yeah, it should be wrapped up in the next week or two.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Good. So I think the challenge for me is just getting feet back on the ground and catching my breath, and then getting back in. It's been amazing. I have speaker training coming up in the beginning of October, so it's a nice segue. I didn't do any speaking there. I just had to be present and help represent the brand for Nantucket neighborhood. And but the people who came were like, I can't believe I'm in the same room with Nelson Mandela's grandson, you know, and he's doing beautiful work, you know. So that was pretty exciting. I
can't believe that level of people.
It was amazing. It was I can't even. They had such amazing technology discussion about AI and the impacts of that, and how that can also be scary. Mm-hmm. But they also had this guy who was suffering from cancer who worked at Intel, and he requested to be transferred to a group that does sequencing. So this is valuable for all of us. You can go and get your own gene sequencing done online, so that you have a baseline for your health. But also, if there's any change when you go to the doctor, you can say, hey, I've had my sequencing done. And it will help with disease prevention and overall wellness. So
I've seen that. Sorry, Jim, I saw that on Tim Ferriss's show, where you can do your own gene mapping and you can do the whole look at everything.
Yes, and this guy was getting treated for cancer, and here's the big thing that was being put forward, is that individual medicine is coming. Instead of being treated on a bell curve where, you know, you're just treating for the average. Sorry, just got a puppy.
Oh.
Instead of treating people on the average, they are going to have individual medicine, just like this sequencing, where you can identify what the challenge is. And that's what happened for this guy. He was pretty much stage 4 cancer, and he found the exact challenge that was in his body, and he took it to his doctor and said, you know, we need an inhibitor to block this. And once he got that, he's been doing better.
That is insane. Yeah. I was talking about this, as total digression. I was talking about this to Wayne. You guys don't know Wayne. He's a developer. He runs a company called Octane Interactive. And in fact, you should check out his product. It's called the Undercloud. It's like the ultimate research tool. It's unbelievable. So it links your thoughts and your ideas that are seemingly unlinked to like your snippets from a web page, and it brings everything together, and it shows. It's like a genuine look inside your mind if you let it work. So you just grab notes. It's fantastic, amazing for research. Called the Undercloud. And he was talking about this the other day. We went out on Friday, and we were just talking about this kind of thing, and how we reckon that we're probably around the first generation of people that are going to get to 80s and actually be able to extend life by 70 to 80 years because of the tech. You know, it's moving that quick. We think we might just be within that generation. Very, very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. What's that, Cam?
What is that?
Dean Ornish, the Spectrum. So I went to a new cardiologist Tuesday, and I went to the physician's assistant. She was really great. I had a wonderful, wonderful meeting, and she gave me this book. And it's amazing how the studies they've done were able to reverse heart disease problems. Of course, I have 5 stents in my heart. And I went to the doctor who actually did the job, my new cardiologist. And this is a vegetarian diet. But it's I started to read it, and it's such plain language. And he says, hey, you don't have to do the whole thing. If you do the whole thing, he says, I guarantee you your artery problems and all that stuff are going to go away. It's you're right. Everyone's so right about there's ways to fix the problems that you have. And anyway, I can't put the book down, by the way. It's so interesting. It's not written to scare. It's written to engage you.
And the cool thing is you can go online. It costs probably $600 to get it done. But you can go online, and there's programs out there, and you can do it on your own. Or I'm not sure if you have to ask a doctor to refer you, but you can check it out online. But that was fascinating. There was other phenomenal technology. The net worth of the people there was in the trillions. I mean, it was ridiculous. But everybody was nice and kind, and I got picked up at the little tiny airport. This guy had Nantucket Project branding, and I was just hanging out because I couldn't check in till 3:00. And he's like, "What are you here for?" And I said, "Nantucket Project." He's like, "Can't you check in yet?" I said, "No, I can't check in till 3:00. He's like, "I could probably take you over." And I was like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." And the brand that picks you up is a BMW. So he drops me off in this Beamer, and when you get in, it massages you. Wow. When you get in the car. So that was amazing. So and they got the house for us. Like, they paid for the house, they paid for everything. The founder is Tom Scott of Nantucket Nectars. He also founded Nantucket Nectars, the juice. Right. And he's going through his own transition in life. He's probably 52, 53, and he's sober 12 years, and you can see how he's bringing that to his work. It was a lot of just about changing the world to make it better, and how are we doing that, and how are we showing up, and that speaks to me. That's my whole gig. So,
well done on that. That's a huge thing to take, and I can see that's going to shape you and what you talk about, and that even the brand meeting that you've got after this will be shaped by all of that. So well done. I think that's a fantastic move. And I know it's been something that's been big on your calendar for the last year.
Yeah.
So well done. That's really, really good. And I'm keen to see what that does to the content, to your pitch, to how you fly through things and the next step. So well done. You should be proud of that. That's a big, big step for you. Well played.
Yeah, thanks.
Good.
And the people in the house were phenomenal too. I mean, they only picked 8 of us. I think there's 50 of them across the country that are happening now. But now some high-profile people are starting them in their homes, like actors. I think Mandela wants to start one, in his town. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was looking into him and what Richard Branson did with the Elders program a few years ago, which I think is quite interesting as well. That's probably something that we'll end up chatting about at some point. But cool. Well played on that. Really good. Rick, I'm going to come to you, my man. What's the week like? Wins and challenges. Tell me a little bit about the writing as well. How did that go?
Writing was okay. I'm going to rewrite everything because I didn't like the tone. So other than that, things just are moving along. Partnership is looking good overall. So feeling good about that. Wins or something I was going to tell you guys, and I got busy reading emails real quick. I have a chat with a sponsor. I've been saying no, but this one has come at me 3 times, so I'm going to have a conversation with them and see what they're looking for.
Good.
So we'll look at that. And that's about it. I mean, I think I've just really been heads down on content this week. So that's kind of where I'm staying too. So as soon as I knock out, I've got three podcasts to record today. So
how are you getting on with how are you feeling with the that kind of stepping out with the common social commentary pieces? How's that just sitting after we spoke last week?
Pretty good, actually. The reason I was late was I woke up late and I wasn't feeling really good. And then I thought, okay, I've got to get to work anyway. And then somebody canceled. But while I was trying to get things organized, I'm going to post this up on the feed on Slack. My friend Tamsin Webster, who I think you guys kind of know, she's kind of been someone who's helping with speaking. She sent an email out last week entitled, hold on, I'll get to it. Basically, why aren't you doing you, or something like that. And I was reading it because I always kind of hold her stuff and then read it later. And I think it kind of spoke to all of us. That's why I want to share it. And it was why you need to write your own rules. And I don't know, it really spoke to me, and I think it'll speak to you guys, because what I realize is I keep telling people about making a bold move, living life your way, and yet I'm holding back from doing that, and I'm not letting myself fully show up in stuff that I do, because I feel like I need to do it a certain way instead of just doing it. And a couple of times last week I just did that and had some good feedback. So the challenge right now is I got to find a way to make this message work with the guys. I did 2 calls last week. One for the gay, bi, trans, and then one for the regular men and masculinity. And granted, these were the, second one for one, but first ones. And only one guy showed up for the gay, bi, trans one, and nobody showed up for the other. So I've got to figure out how to get some engagement going. So that's the challenge at this point.
And just to speak to that point, that is difficult. I find that with my free coaching, like sometimes there'll be 10 people, sometimes there's 40. And then afterwards there'll be 1,000 views or whatever. It's a really difficult thing to get that because it's a fixed time. So the first thing I'd experiment with is the time. You know, I'd keep the format and just change one thing at a time. Try just one. Just
I think the first thing I got to try is I got to get more I need to get it out there in front of people that this thing is really happening. I only did 1 round of marketing stuff. So I think that's got to get out there first. I think there's not enough knowledge of it. Although there's 18, 19 people signed up. So I think for now I just need to get some volume. And then like you said, yes, I think I need to start playing with, okay, what is the kick? I think also the message needs to be a little more, I don't want it to turn into a coaching thing, because I think that'll eliminate some people, but I think it's got to find the message that says, why would you as a guy attend this? What's holding you back, and what's holding you, what perception of yourself as a man holds you back in your career? Why aren't you as, good of a lover, husband, boyfriend, whatever, because of how you perceive yourself? I think some of those things will resonate more than just straight out men and masculinity stuff. So.
Rick, I have a question. I can't help but think that what you're trying to do, and I don't know exactly what you're trying to do exactly in my mind, but it reminds me of what I do every Friday at 12 noon, the Town Hall Academy. We take one trending subject, bring on some guys, ladies, experts who want to talk about it, and we go at it. Sometimes it's 40 minutes, sometimes it's an hour. It's watched on Facebook, repurposed. I repurposed the video on my site. It becomes a podcast. Would that be, different topic each and every, it doesn't have to be every week.
Yeah, that's what the whole thing is each week there's a different, each time there's a call, there's a different topic.
Cool. So. And maybe the sponsor helps, it takes that over, becomes the sponsor for that show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So each one will be different.
Good. Okay.
Good. I think that's encouraging with the sponsor as well, man. I think, based on chats last week, I think that's encouraging. Is it obviously without giving too much away, is it a sponsor that's in your niche? Does it fit? Is it tight in?
Well, that's the problem.
Okay.
There's obviously some tentacles with these sponsors that I actually turned some guests down this past week. there's some big perception, which I understand it because we made the switch from the Coming Out Lounge to where we are, that this is a very gay focused podcast still. And so I'm definitely turning people away right now. It's like, no, this isn't just gay. There's still LGBTQ stuff that shows up. But this particular sponsor, it's targeted towards men, but I know because I've seen it out there in my community, it's very targeted towards gay men, which isn't a bad thing, but I'm hesitant to do anything that is that focused because I don't want to, I don't even want to do this. I don't want to junk up my podcast with sponsorship stuff. So there's a certain way I will play this if they want to do it. If they don't, then that's okay. But this one is towards a lot of stuff targeted towards guys, and I tend to think it's targeted towards gay men mostly, but I'm still doing a little research on it. So have the conversation this week with the guy, so I will keep you posted.
Thanks, man. Yeah, keep me posted. Good luck. I hope it fits and works. Cool, man. Well, thank you very much. Raf, how are we doing, my bearded friend? What's going on? What's the win? What's the challenge? Give us the lowdown.
So I'm going to do a little reverse. Hi, everybody. I'm going to do the reverse here. The challenge. My challenge is that I am the sole breadwinner of this family, and I want to so quit my day job. I'm up to here with it. But I can't because Served is not going. I'm not producing any money there. And I have my pension and I have, other streams of income coming, but it would drastically change the lifestyle that we have right now. So my challenge is to control myself, keep my resentments, and just focus on the positive that this job has. And that's, I texted you last week, Mark, on the politics and the subversion within these agencies. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't have to play this. But then I have to think about it and say, well, for right now, I do have to play this. So that's my challenge. So because of that challenge, it literally zaps. Like I feel like I'm a slug in mud again. It's like my personal world and my professional world beat up on the Served world and what I'm really ambitious about and what I really care about. And so I have to really learn to balance all this. But the movement, so I'm not going to call it the thing that I'm doing with Served now. I'm actually calling it a movement. I'm actually using that word because the movement that exists, very small right now, is what comes around and boomerangs around and literally just gives me a shot of adrenaline. So think about like a war scene, right, where you're bleeding on the ground and you're like, I'm done. Just hit me up with morphine and let me go. The medic comes, patches me up, and throws a shot of morphine in me and then juices me back up. So two amazing things happen. The first one, this is the win now. The first one, at work at the NASA job site, I was talking with this lady. She's approached me several times, and she is not military, but she is in a program that raises dogs, so therapy dogs. So in this whole process, she's actually exposed me to the fact that there's different levels of therapy dogs. I didn't realize that. I thought it was like either you got a service dog or you go get a family pet. So we engaged again earlier in the week, last week, because of she's a high NASA ranking official, and it was a big review. And so she tells me about this. Yep, there it is. So there's the dogs, right? So there's something that happens when you have these canines and just other animals, and then when they're specially trained to when you're, like stressed out or whatever, they have sort of a sixth sense, and then they're trained for that. So the graduation for that is on September 29th, and she wants me to come meet the founders of, it's called the Warrior Canine Connection, and it's up here in Maryland. And so to see the graduation of the pups that have evolved from puppy to service dog for disabled veterans. And so that in itself I'm very excited about, because on that weekend I had other plans and they fell apart, and so this is actually a better fit than what the other plans were. So I'm excited about that. And then here's the second win, happened yesterday, which It's phenomenal. So I'm at Lowe's, and Mark, I don't know if you know, but Lowe's is like a hardware store, like a big box hardware store.
Mm-hmm.
Minding my own business, I'm building up a Mac for a friend and getting back into my nerd techie. So that's kind of that gets me excited and kind of gets me back on track. And I'm at Lowe's just doing my own business with Ethan, and there's this gentleman that's riding around in this little cart, older gentleman playing around, and I'm just kind of looking at him like he's pretty joyful. I would say he's in his late 60s, maybe early 70s, and he's zipping around in this cart having a good time. Well, I noticed a big badge button, about 4-inch button on his shoulder, and it said 1977 to 2001, and it just said Romeo. I picked up is that this was a picture of his son in navy dress, and obviously with the dates, the gentleman had passed. And I didn't make the connection at that point in time, but I was born in 76, so it really hit me when here's this gentleman wearing a 77 to 2001 badge or button. So then I thought, well, maybe I can give him a served sticker. Well, I realized I don't have any served stickers with me because I didn't carry them with me. I had the wrong set of pants or whatever, and I thought, fail. Number one, fail. I have to figure out a way how to always have served stickers with me. So then I said, all right, well, I'll just move on. Well, the gentleman was sitting outside waiting for his wife to pick him up. And I said, should I engage this man? Because served as service members, responders, veterans, and dependents, but where do parents fall? Because I'm like, man, so does this fit? Does this not fit? And I just went ahead and talked to the gentleman. Well, we're going to do a show. So I got to talking with him. He was telling me about his son. His son died on September 11th at the Pentagon. And his son had come home. So they were very, very excited because their son made it to D.C. after being in the Navy for 6 years. So he came home, and they were very excited to have Romeo home. Within a few months of him being home, because he was away for 6 years in the Navy, September 11th happened in 2001, and he was one of the individuals that had passed. So this is where the incredible piece of this, the mom and the dad said, well, I want you to know that we love what you're doing, and you have a new family here in Maryland. And I smiled and I said, oh, okay, thank you. And they said, no, we want you to come over to the house. We want you to come over to the house and have dinner with us. We want you to know us so that you can know Romeo, so that you can know the family. And I was like, wow, like, whoa, okay, this is really interesting. And so I thought, how can I get them involved? And they said, well, we do a walk every year for September 11th veterans. I want you to be a part of this walk. I said, okay, I'll do that. And I said, listen, I do this thing called Served Radio. I'm about to launch this thing. I'm recording. Can we sit down and record and capture his memory and do like a tribute? They were so excited. We started crying. I mean, it was one of these things, these experiences that you're just like, all right. So I didn't have a sticker for them. So I ran to the car because I did have my old magnets. So I have these old magnets that I was field testing, and they're worn out because of the UV of the sun. So they're faded. And as I'm walking back, I'm cleaning them in my pants, and I handed it to him. I said, listen, this is an IOU, so this is a placeholder. I'll get you 2 stickers, but I want you to have these 2 magnets that came right out of the back of my car. And they were just so excited about it. And anyway, so that's a tremendous win and a tremendous trajectory on what I know that I'm getting a taste of what Served is actually going to do and the impact that it's going to do for healing. And the man shares with me that he's been wearing this button for 16 and a half years. The wife told me that he wears it with his pajamas. He wears it if he's not leaving the house. He wears it on any shirt. She says, I don't care if it's a tuxedo. He wears Romeo on his chest. And so anyways, I'm planning a multi-session interview with individual members of his family, and then I'm going to bring this show together. Anyways, it's just one of these things where I'm really excited about these connections, and these connections are what usually charges me up to the maximum, and I just keep pressing forward. So,
Ralph, I love your story, and the thing that just went through my head was you've expanded now what your podcast could be to the world by engaging the next level, the family. And then the other word that came out of my mind was the word tribute.
Yeah. And so it kind of fell on me like a, I don't know, like a piano out of the sky. And I just thought about that, and I said, wow, this is very interesting. And where does this fit in the served radio model and served? We're still kind of trying to figure all that out.
Don't stop. Don't.
Yeah, just let it go.
And I think I should have moved off of my top dead center a few years ago. Last Tuesday, the episode went out of Father and a Son. It was my first father and son, 15 years old in the business, and is a brainiac. And people email me and says, this kid was 15. He's like he was 22, and he knew his stuff. So stretching, you haven't even started, and you're already stretching, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well played, man. No, that's really, really good. Just let it percolate around for a bit while you're driving around. Let it see where it fits, and something will land from that. There's no worry on that. Just get to the producing, go out and see them, see what people respond like to that, and that'll tell you what direction to go in. Just like Cam's done with his show. So I think that's awesome. So I've got to.
Very interestingly enough, let me finish up this. So I don't have the exact picture yet, but of what I understood from the little bit of what the mom was sort of alluding to is that they're very well connected in a lot of nonprofit channels. And the reason why I said I'm kind of like, I wonder what that means, is because she said, oh, when I get invited to all these things and I have an extra ticket, now I know who I'm going to call. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't understand that at first, but as I've been thinking about it, I'm thinking, and then she said that so the walk that they do every year, I missed it, but I'm trying to think, did they sponsor it? So maybe they're wealthy and they come from money and they're doing these other things. So I don't know what it would lead to, and I'm not chasing that, but it was just one of these things where I kind of thought, whoa, I'm bumping into folks that are super connected, and it's going to accelerate this.
You know what else, Raf? The Travis Manion Foundation just had their run in Annapolis here at the Academy. You could have come out here. Yeah. That's huge. It's huge. So check out Travis Manion Foundation.
Okay.
He was a wrestler at the Naval Academy, and they created this huge foundation. And I actually met someone who works for the foundation at the Global Education Summit in Texas. So it's pretty big. But they do events in Maryland. They just had it a week or two ago.
Get involved. Get down there with the recorder, my man, and the phone on the Instagram. Right, I've got to stick a pin in it today, guys. Sorry, I've got a backed-up call at 5 past the hour. One of those days today. But that's good. I know we chatted at the beginning. So, Rick, just before you came on, we were just chatting about various things to do with just progress and moving, trying to firm up some changes for the group and so on. So that's why we ran a little bit different on the format. So I'll put some thought into some bits that we talked about and come back to you guys and just we all talk individually on Slack anyway. So just keep things flying as normal. Andrea, I'm keen for a debrief in a bit more depth on the brand when you speak to Kirsten later, and Cam obviously on the Napa stuff as well.
By the way, Rick, a fabulous post on Facebook. Were those your two daughters?
Which one?
Your partner, and the two girls. Those are your two daughters?
Yep.
Beautiful girls. Wow. Just cool family. Cool picture. By the way, I just got an email from Repair Pal. I offered them, of course, to sponsor for a year, and they took 1 quarter, 13 weeks. So
that's good.
There's a start, everyone.
It is. Well done, man. That's a win.
It's a win.
Good to start the week off. Right, I've got to shoot. So I've got my other guy calling in too. Sorry to be a pain. But I'll see you all later.
Break on 3.
Break on 3. We always break before 3. I don't get it. Bye.
Bye, y'all.